Okay, good morning. Happy Tuesday, Lang Gang. So today for class, you're going to be working on your letters. So this live class will be fairly short. We're just going to do a couple of things. We're going to go over the grading policy for class now that aligns with the district policy that was sent out yesterday. And just talk a little bit about that and address any questions you might have. And then we'll go over kind of like a bad body paragraph for your letter, so you can sort of compare what are things you want to make sure you're avoiding as you finish writing your letter today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Okie dokie. All right, so this is what you had posted for you today. Okay, so yeah, first thing we're going to do is go over this grading policy, and then we'll jump into your letter assignment for today. Okay. So this just gives some information. Like I said, you were updated yesterday with an email from the district that went to you and your parents. So this just sort of goes along with that. So just so you know, grading and attendance for this class, and it should be pretty similar for all your other classes. 2 of your assignments for the week will be graded and go into the gradebook for a grade. So you technically have 4 days of work. 2 of those will be graded and count towards your final grade. I will track attendance daily though, so even those 2 days that your assignment's not going to be like counting for a grade, it's still going to count for attendance. And you're attending class by doing that assignment and turning it in. So not just clicking turn in to count for it, but like attempting the assignment counts as your attendance. And so then starting on next Monday, I'll put in a grade from this past week. How many days out of 4 did you attend class? So if you completed 3 out of 4 of your assignments, then your attendance is a 3 out of 4. That attendance grade is not for grading. It's just tracking that participation because that has to do with your final grade for the class. Okay, so 2 things will really be graded and count toward it. And then the attendance grade is just how many days did you participate out of 4, not for grading, just for tracking. Your EOCA now, you guys aren't having like multiple choice exams anymore. I think I spoke with you about this a little bit already, but there's a couple other changes that I wanted you to know about. So now your end of course or your final, whatever, it only counts as 5% of your grade now. For our class, it'll be a project. So it doesn't have a huge impact on your grade, but it can bump you a little bit, which is kind of nice. Just 5%, it can boost you up just that little bit that you need, and you do need to complete it. So even though it's a lower percentage of the grade, you definitely need to complete it. It'll be a project for AP Lang. For your other classes, it's totally up to your teachers and their teams what that's going to look like. But it's not going to be like the traditional district EOCA. Okay, so your end of semester grade, which is what I'm sure most of you care about. So what's cool is you're still going to get a grade. It still impacts your GPA. If you attend at least half of the class, so meaning in that attendance grade, you're doing at least 2 out of 4 assignments every week, and you complete that final project, then your grade can't drop any lower than what it was at 3rd quarter progress report. It can still go up higher, so you can still continue to grow and boost your grade the whole rest of this semester, but it can't drop any lower. Okay? The only way your grade can drop, well, it's not going to drop actually. I think they said it's going to be an incomplete. But if you're not completing enough assignments, then you're not going to earn a grade for the class. Okay, but what you guys can basically see is we just don't want to hold students like, we don't want to punish students because of this situation that's been happening with distance learning. So your grade can't go down at all from where it was at 3rd quarter. It can only go up. You just need to make sure you're meeting those 2 requirements, and then it won't go down. Are there any questions about that? Because I feel like that's kind of the big
No.
No. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pretty easy. Like the easy thing is your grade's not going to go down. Okay, so some people, not the 3 of you or 4 of you here, because you guys are all ambitious students, but some people might think, all right, well, if I have my B from 3rd quarter, like why would I bother still working hard? I can just kind of do the bare minimum to keep my B from 3rd quarter. But there's a lot of reasons that you guys really want to make sure that you're still working hard. Again, I know that this is a tough situation, so you maybe can't work as hard as you did when we were in school because there's lots of other things going on, and that's understandable. But I just want to make sure you're still challenging yourselves. There's a lot of still reasons to keep working hard and learning your best. Of course, for this class particularly, we do want to get you ready for that AP test. And as Alonzo, you just kind of talked about, like you have one shot with this one rhetorical analysis essay. So we really want to make sure like you're working hard to super practice that skill of rhetorical analysis so that you can do well on that exam in May. The other reason to work hard, of course, is your grades can still improve. There's no pressure now of like, oh my God, am I doing it wrong? Because your grade's not going to go down. It can only go up. So you have this positive sort of opportunity like, oh, now I can take my B to an A. Now I can take my C to a B. Wherever you were 3rd quarter, there's only room to grow. So I think that's really positive incentive. Another thing that's really important is you guys want to make sure you're still challenging yourself because you want to be ready for your future, for senior year, for college. Okay, all of the learning you do is constantly preparing you for that next level, and you need to continually be learning to progress effectively. And you don't want to let this sort of situation like get in the way of you just sort of growing your education where you need to be for your future. And then the number one reason, obviously you guys know I believe this wholeheartedly and many of you do as well, your education is extremely important. Even when it's not easy, like now in this time, of course now he starts barking when I get to the really important stuff. So even when it's not easy, we've read so many texts this year in our class that talk about like how important education is, no matter how hard or how much you have to sacrifice to get it. And you guys just aren't the type of people to give up or to even slack off when things get a little bit harder, a little challenging. You're the type of people that rise to that challenge. So I just wanted to really encourage you to keep putting your best foot forward and not to be tempted to kind of slack off, especially if that's what you're hearing from some of your friends at school or in other districts or things like that. So keep putting your best foot forward, okay? Yep, and our new Wednesday is a flex day, so you're not gonna have any new assignments on Wednesdays. So tomorrow you get that extra day to finish up your letter. I will have extra tutoring on Wednesdays from 9:30 to 10 in the morning. That's specifically English time, so all English teachers are available that time. But I'll still have my normal office hours and things like that too. I will be available much of the day on Wednesdays. If you don't have any new work that you're being assigned, I really want to utilize that for writing conferences, which I'll get to in a second. I will send emails out to students on Tuesday night, just sort of inviting you to participate on Wednesday if I feel like you need to catch up on stuff. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it for the grading policy that was sent out from district. Like I said, many of your teachers should kind of align with that as well. So any questions from you four?
No.
I have none.
No. Cool. Does it seem okay? You guys seem good with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I hope it's like really comforting to students that you just have this opportunity to like continue learning and improve from there. Okay. All right. So like I said, you've got today to finish drafting your letter. So I reattached the same PowerPoint from Friday that just sort of walks you through what your letter is going to look like. The other thing I added today, which I wanted us to chat about in our live class, is I added like a bad sample of a body paragraph, just so you can make sure to see what not to do in your letter. So you've already, if you open up this document, I already have it open, other tab. You guys already saw this good sample paragraph in the PowerPoint, so we're not going to go over that again. But what I wanted to go over with you was this bad sample to see if we can really hone in on like what's wrong with it, so you know what to avoid when you're writing. Or like Alonzo, you said you're already finished, so you're gonna go back and revise. You want to make sure you didn't like make any of these sort of mistakes in your body paragraphs. Oh my goodness, the computer's doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the bad sample paragraph. What not to do. No, I don't want to update. All right, so this sample one I did was with The Great Gatsby, since I know that's what a majority of our students read. I wanted to do a bad sample on that one. Okay. All right. So English teachers need to teach The Great Gatsby to their students because it can teach them so much about the theme of the American dream. In the book, Gatsby loves Daisy so much, and he even buys the house just so he can be across the bay from her. Even though he does everything in his power to win the love of his life back, he does not succeed. So many people, including teenagers, can relate to the idea of rejection from the one you love, and that makes the book very interesting. So students will be excited to read it. Not only that, but with all the relationship drama that takes place between Daisy, Tom, Myrtle, and Gatsby, it really helps a person ponder what makes real love. You can have students analyze the relationships between these characters to determine what makes a negative relationship. These are important life lessons that students can carry with them. This book is clearly worthy of being taught, considering the film adaptation that was made and how successful it was. To have actors like Leonardo DiCaprio play the role of Gatsby show how essential of a book it must be. Okay, so actually before we jump into what's wrong with it, I want to start with like, there's definitely some good stuff. So I'm wondering if you guys might start with what were some things that the writer did well that you should be doing in your body paragraphs. So let's kind of start with the positive and then we'll start critiquing it. So let's try for like at least 3 good things. What do you think are some good things in the paragraph?
He introduced
Commentary, I
like
guess.
some of the main characters within the book.
Yeah, they've got some like good evidence from the book. They named some major characters and like said what they were doing. So like that's good. We've got some evidence there, so that was effective. Abdur, what did you say?
I said commentary.
Yeah, there's a lot of commentary, and I think I definitely want to praise that this writer still has original commentary. I think one thing that students do a lot is they don't have enough commentary. It's like all evidence, and their commentary just repeats their evidence. It doesn't really say any of their own opinions. So I think this paragraph does do a nice job of sharing opinions, right? They said like a lot of teenagers can relate to that. It makes the book interesting. They even started talking to the teacher here, right? With their commentary, you can have students analyze relationships. So they're kind of like giving the teacher suggestions, which is really compelling commentary, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Good example.
And they're trying to connect with the students. That's a good way.
Absolutely. You see a lot of connected, like this writer is definitely trying to connect with the teacher and give them a good reason to connect with students, which I think is like a solid argument there. Okay. Any other positives you saw?
Maybe transition. Like I thought it kind of flowed.
Oh yeah, right here. Like not only that, but that's a good transition. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Sweet. Okay, let's go ahead and start critiquing. There's a couple of like major flaws. I know on your guys' document, you can probably already see what's wrong with it because I wanted people to be able to determine that. But let's kind of go through and talk about it a little bit. What do you think is the biggest issue with the paragraphs?
I mean,
said
it talks about. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Well, it talks about like the American dream, and then it just talks about relationships all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
That is the biggest issue, and that's the paragraph doesn't all match up. It has nothing to do with. So there's this claim or this argument that's introduced about the American dream, and then the American dream is never mentioned at all. So I think what I really want to make sure you guys focus on is whatever argument you're making, that your evidence and commentary proves that argument. Because this has good evidence and it has good commentary, but it doesn't prove the argument that was set out to prove. It doesn't say anything about the American dream. So a couple things you could do to revise it, well, really easily, just change your argument then, right? To be more about relationships. Okay, so that would be like an easier way to fix the paragraph here. Be, okay, let me change my claim here so that my evidence and commentary is all proving that. So I could change it to be something about love and relationships and that sort of thing. Okay, the other thing I could do if I'm like, well, no, I think I really want to keep this idea of the American dream. Well, now I need to provide evidence of the American dream instead. Because even though this is evidence from the book, it doesn't have anything to do with the American dream. So I might even want to define what the American dream is. Here's what the American dream is. Here's how in The Great Gatsby it talks about that concept, that sort of thing. And then my commentary would need to focus on that. Okay. What other things do you feel like are wrong with it, other than that fundamental problem?
So does she like explain? I feel like she could have explained a little bit more about who Leonardo DiCaprio was. Maybe like his successes and like what makes him like.
Yeah, I mean, well, so this second paragraph, I was just trying to show you. I didn't like fully write a second one, just like with the good one, because I wanted you guys just to see that connection from body paragraph 1 to body paragraph 2. So this paragraph definitely would need to be developed more, right? It's incomplete. It's just like a sentence or two. How do you feel about this connection from the first body paragraph to the second one? What do you guys think about that? Do you feel like there's anything missing there?
Yeah, there's a line of reasoning probably missing.
Yeah, there's no line of reasoning. I mean, this is actually like a good claim and starts to provide some good commentary, right? Okay, yeah, it's probably an important book. If the movie had so much success, that means it's something that everybody should read. So it's like a solid argument, but what does it have to do with this paragraph that came before it? You want to make sure your letter, your whole argument is connected. So you need some sort of transition here that's going to connect this movie argument to either the American dream or the love or the relationships, whatever you have here. So you always want to make sure you have a transition at the beginning of a new paragraph. Anything else you think you might try to improve or revise with this one? We got all the like really major stuff. Let's see what else I put here. Can you guys see? Oh no, I changed it. I did change it, so you can't see what I wrote. Okay. There we go. Now you can see what's wrong with it. Okay, so we already talked about bullet points 1, 2, and 4. Okay, this third bullet point here, the evidence could still be more specific. Okay, obviously it's good evidence already, but this part here where it talks about drama that takes place between Daisy, Tom, Myrtle, and Gatsby, it's kind of vague, so the writer could definitely expand upon that. I mean, Myrtle is Tom's mistress, so even just adding that in there, I think would make it a little more specific and would make the argument a little bit stronger to be a little bit more detailed with the evidence that you're providing. And then we talked about how a positive was that it was considering the audience and talking to the audience and saying you and giving suggestions. But I think that some of the commentary is still a little bit surface level, so you could dig a little bit deeper. This is for my really ambitious, sophisticated writers. You want to take this to the next level here. So it's a nice suggestion. You can have students analyze the relationships between these characters to determine what makes a negative relationship, and these are important life lessons. You could still kind of dig deeper into that idea. Why does it matter what makes a negative relationship? Why is it important for students to know that? How are they going to carry that with them for their future? So you can still dig a little bit deeper into these ideas to make the argument a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit deeper. But yeah, sounds like you guys have a really good idea of what you need to make sure you're doing in your body paragraphs, because you were able to pinpoint like the biggest issues with that. So I just want to commend you on that. Do you guys feel like you have any additional questions about putting together your body paragraphs of your letter today and then tying up the conclusion and all that?
No.
Alonzo's just ready to revise, right?
Yeah, I can, I'll just revise it. I know the paragraphs are just pretty like all my paragraphs, I just like wrote it right away. So like I'm just gonna revise it and make sure they're the best they are. So
That is perfect.
usually I just do that. Usually I just like type it down first just to get it done, and then just when I revise it, I just make sure it's.
And that's the best thing to do, is to be able to go back to your writing after you've taken a little bit of a break from it, because then you're going to notice things that you didn't notice before when you have those fresh set of eyes. So I definitely want to encourage you guys to like take a second look at it today, and maybe take another break, come back to it later. And then even tomorrow, like even if you finish early, don't feel like you need to submit to turn it in today. Give it that one more set of fresh eyes tomorrow. I will put some final revising tips up for you tomorrow if you want to utilize those. And my other suggestion to you, the number 3 on your tasks for today, is that you can feel free to sign up for a writing conference tomorrow. So I attached this spreadsheet with a schedule. You guys don't have access to type into it, but you can see the time slots. So tomorrow is the first day to have a writing conference. There are 8 spots for tomorrow. So if you really want some help with your letter before submitting, you want to sign up for one of those slots. If you just want to do a writing conference, maybe for some discussion and being able to go over your rhetorical analysis from the previous week, since that's what you need to do to get ready for your AP test, you can sign up for any of these upcoming days. And then starting Thursday, we're going to get back into rhetorical analysis. So I wanted to leave all these days open for writing conferences as they work for you guys. So if you want to have a writing conference, whether it's for your argument letter or for some rhetorical analysis work, you can just email me with the time slot on the sheet that works best for you. Okay, and then your last task for the day is the attendance. And that's just, okay, once you're done drafting, so Alonzo, you can technically do this already since you've already finished. What do you feel like is the strongest part of your argument so far, and why? And what do you think is one thing you need to work on and revise before you submit? So submitting that question, that's what you're going to do today. That's going to count as your attendance piece. Okay. Any questions about that?
No, not really. Everything's good.
We're good to go then. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I really want to say, like, I appreciate when you show up in the mornings, because it's weird, you know, not going to school, not having class, and I definitely miss seeing you guys every day. So thank you. I will still have office hours today. If you want help with your letter from 1 to 2, I can help you then, or I can do a conference with you tomorrow. Okay? All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you later.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yes.